this drop site news, No Other Land 2024 documentary directed by a Palestinian Israeli collective, highlighting the Palestinian resistance against Israeli military occupation and settlement expansion in Masafar Yatta, West Bank, has just been nominated for an Oscar for Best Documentary Feature at the 97th Academy Awards. Now, this is a unique moment where I have not one, but two documentaries that I am in the tank for. Okay. Oh, Union is not nominated? Never mind. Okay, well then this is the one that we're going for, boys. Let's watch.
1,000 Palestinians face one of the single biggest expulsion decisions since the Israeli occupation of the Palestinian territories began.
هاي قصة عن القوة.
أنا اسمي باسل.
مسافر يطا هي المكان اللي كبرت فيه. بداية تصويري هي بداية نهايتنا.
جرافات؟ أنا متلامة خير.
This is the movie that kicked off the German apartheid incident. I don't know what that is. Is that the one where they got sued by the Berlin festival or something? And like one of the makers of this documentary is Jewish, is Israeli. The other is Palestinian. Less than 2 hours after this film was nominated for an Oscar for Best Documentary, the IDF invaded Basel Adra's village and started searching homes. From my experience as a former IDF soldier, this looks like a lot of the common IDF command, demonstrating our presence. Yeah. I think it's just to apply pressure and to say, like, you're done. You're cooked. 4-person team, 2 Israeli, 2 Palestinian young people. They filmed this under harrowing circumstances, literally. I mean, understandably. And I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah. This is the clapartheid. Okay, now I get it. What you meant by the clap apartheid. Okay, yes. So what happened is the German minister tweeted that she clapped only for the Israeli and not for the Palestinian. Like she had to come out and release a statement saying she clapped after this, but specifically for the Israeli. Like the moral bankruptcy of Western leadership in full display because of Palestine. It's just like, it's one of the most insane things that I have encountered. And I think partially it's become more glaringly obvious because of the reality that like more people are familiar with what's going on now. And I don't mean politicians, of course, because politicians are fairly knowledgeable on what goes on in Israel, right? They just choose to actively undermine the truth. But now that more of the public is aware of it, now that they are familiar with it, it has caused politicians, I think, to panic. It's caused politicians to panic and oftentimes genuinely showcase their moral ineptitude. It's not just Islamophobia, but in Germany, there's a healthy dose of that, obviously. For Germans, it's a totally separate set of standards. I think there is just a spiritual problem in the hearts of modern Germans in general. So I think like Germany is in a unique case in and of itself. I've talked about it extensively time and time again. I don't even want to get into it right now, but I think it's like collective guilt. Wait, hold on. It's German collective guilt, not really learning the lessons of the Holocaust adequately, I think allowing Nazis to control, especially Western Germany, in the Reconstruction period, led by Americans allowing that to happen. Like, there's so many different issues there. But yes, I'm gonna do IRL in a moment. Hold on. I'm waiting. This is funny. This is a funny take on American politics. Choosing between Lockheed Martin and the Ku Klux Klan every 4 years, back and forth until the asteroid comes. That is a fantastic way to explain American politics. They made the full film available to watch for free on the local call website, but you need to use a VPN to Israel Palestine. The movie's incredible and documents the hotspot of ethnic cleansing that is Masafar Yatta extremely well. I can link if you want. Highly recommended. I don't think I would need a VPN. I think I could probably, if they want wide distribution of this, if they want eyeballs on this, I'm certain that they wouldn't have an issue if I watched it. And I would be willing to watch it. Where are you streaming from? I'm in Tokyo right now. But yeah, Al Jazeera also released a documentary and includes clips of Sinwar in the front lines of Gaza. I saw that, Yahya Sinwar. And that one is also especially interesting because the Yahya Sinwar situation is especially interesting because Israel routinely lied and said, like, oh, he's chained with like 20 Israeli babies around him, like at all times, so that Israel doesn't kill him. And I always thought that was laughable for two reasons. One, because it demonstrates its projection, as always, as the case always with Israel. It's projection because, like, that's basically an admission that that is what, like, Benjamin Netanyahu would do if the roles were reversed, or Israeli leadership would do that if roles were reversed. And the second thing that I always thought was really funny about that lie was the idea that, like, Israel would be above killing 20 of its hostages if they 100% got an assurance that Yahya Sinwar was at a location. Like, what gave you that idea that Israel cares about Israeli hostages? They have made it clear time and time again throughout the last 16 months that the hostages were actually an obstacle, okay? A mere hurdle to clear. And the hostage families were a nuisance, being annoying out in the public. How dare they demonstrate? Benjamin Netanyahu used the Lebanese incursion, invading southern Lebanon, to literally stop protests in Israel. Okay? He used that as a reason to stop all gatherings for more than like 10 people in Israel for a period of time. So in the endless well of depravity that is Israeli politics, I always thought it was really funny where, there was this notion that Yahya Sinwar was in a bunker somewhere safe. In a bunker somewhere safe and sound with like 20 hostages, like protecting himself. He's selfish. He does not care about the lives of Palestinians in general. This is a common attitude that many people initially had in the aftermath of October 7th, specifically a lot of like more liberal Zionists, both in the United States of America and certainly in Israel as well, where it was like, oh, Hamas doesn't care about the safety and security of Palestinian citizens. Obviously, like, you don't understand. If they did, they wouldn't put their lives on the line. They wouldn't bargain with them. Meanwhile, Israel was the one that was killing the Palestinians. So I always was like, okay, if that's the bargain, then, peaceful conciliation in this situation would probably immediately lead to a revolution against the leadership, right? That's what would happen. If people would far prefer Israeli leadership, the Palestinian people, I mean, especially in Gaza, to Hamas, then yeah, they would, if Israel just didn't kill a bunch of Palestinians, maybe they would revolt against Hamas. Now, it was probably a major own goal, right? When Israel actually, in the ways that it often does, tried to humiliate Yahya Sinwar and humiliate the Palestinians and humiliate the Palestinian resistance once again by showcasing his final moments and his dead body and all this stuff. Meanwhile, it made it impossible to propagandize him as a coward because it went against all of the previous things that they had said about him, that he died fighting, you know, till the very last breath. Like he literally lost his arm to a tank shell, and they didn't even know that they had killed him. So they ended up martyring him further. And I think that, I mean, it's just, this is unstable in general. Like Israel's, like no fascist leadership can ever maintain stability because there's a constant outgroup that you must be battling, right? And that's why everyone always says correctly that fascism is a death cult. It's a suicide cult. But even if it wasn't the case, like Israel certainly is going through that same exact process right now, where they're actively trying to propagandize in a certain direction and just failing to do so.
في صوت بيطلع يعني مش ناس قاعدين يعني مش بني ادمين.
شوف دخلوا.
This is what's happening in my village now. Soldiers are everywhere.
يكون كثير حلو يا زلمة.
Even, by the way, just so you understand, even the Jewish Israeli filmmakers are putting themselves in harm's way in that situation. Okay? When they're the ones who are also filming, like the IDF obviously pays more attention and is more careful with the way that they deal with the Israeli citizens that, you know, place themselves in between the IDF and the Palestinians in the West Bank. But even then, it's no different than a cop. You know what I mean? In the United States of America. Maybe even more dangerous in some instances.
بعدين انتوا بتيجوا تزوروني مش انا بزوركم ولا لا؟ ولا شو تفكر؟ لو انت مكاني شو تفكر؟
What are you talking about? Italian fascists live for 20 years and only disappear because of the war. Same for Spain. Fascism is not racist itself. Wait, what? Fascism, what? Fascism, it's not racist itself? What are you talking about? Italian fascists live for 20 years. It only disappeared because of the war. First of all, it's pretty funny to say that fascism disappeared in Italy when, you know, Meloni is your leadership currently. Okay? And the notion that like fascism can exist without inevitably collapsing is a shocking thing to say unless you are a delusional fascist. Okay? It can be propped up. It can be extended with a lifeline, oftentimes with international support. And I wouldn't say that it will collapse in and of itself without any resistance, but these kinds of actions actually create resistance inherently, understandably, just like October 7. Because when you show people that there is no peaceful path forward and that you are going to, you are just simply going to keep killing them over and over again in this like slow death spiral in this slow burn of ethnic cleansing, then yeah, inevitably people are going to understand that lesson and be backed into a corner and realize that the only way they can get out of it is by fighting out of that corner.